Welcome in, everybody, to the Free Money Podcast here, coming to you live with Across the Pond Footy Show, the European football betting show here, and we're going to go over the card for May 22nd, 2023. So let's get into it here. We have 3 games total, 2 out in Italy and Serie A, and then 1 in England for the Premier League. So we'll start with the Premier League and pick number 1. Newcastle and Leicester, both teams to score no, plus 112 on FanDuel. Newcastle play host to Leicester, who are in danger of being relegated and need points bad here as they sit in 19th and chasing Everton for that safety spot of 17th. Unfortunately for Leicester, they are playing a third-place Newcastle team that has kept them out of the net twice this year. Once in the Carabao Cup, they lost 2-0. And then at Newcastle, they lost to Leicester 3-0. And in that Premier League game, Leicester's expected goals, so how many goals they were expected to score, was a lowly 0.31. In their last 3 road games, they have put up a lot of goals themselves, scoring 3, 1, and 1 in each of those last 3 games. The average goals for that game, expected goals, 2.31. And put up an actual 1.67 per. But this Newcastle team just has their number. They last played Liverpool at home and had an expected goals of 0.53 and put up 0. Against the top 6 in the table, they have had 11 games, and 6 of those games, Leicester has been shut out. Leicester are going to be relegated, and too many results like the one today will be a big reason why. And always good to have plus money. There's a lot of opportunity here in soccer, especially at plus 112. Newcastle can play defense, and Leicester cannot score. So a great combo for us here on both teams to score no, plus 112 over on FanDuel. And now heading over to Italy and Serie A, pick number 2. And the first in Serie A is going to be Roma and Salernitana, under 2.5 goals at DraftKings, minus 115. And then a sprinkle, a quarter unit on under a half goal, meaning no goals scored in the game, plus 1080 on FanDuel. Europa League finalists Roma play host to Salernitana, who they have beaten once this season, 1-0. 5 games for Salernitana on the road have been scoreless for them, meaning they have not scored in those road games. And they have not had one of these since March 5th, 10 games since, so they are due for a bit of a stinker here. Roma plays a very slow style of football and average 1.69 goals at home for their goal output. And they do find themselves in the Europa League final. Jose Mourinho, another trophy possibility. I just don't see them exerting a lot of offense here, especially at 2 goals. I don't think they let any in, to be quite honest. That's why I think the sprinkle is definitely worth it at plus 1080. Tammy Abraham can score, but they know that they have this final coming up. They are out of Champions League contention for this season. It's looking like another Europa League season or Europa Conference League for them. So there's not a lot to gain from this and playing hard. They do want to keep form for that game, yes, but definitely not going to be a mad dash for the ball and fouls. And under is definitely going to be the play here. Their last 3 home games, they do average 2.78 goals. And Salernitana, last 3 away games, average about 2.47. They already played earlier this year, and the game ended up 1-0. Roma's last 6 games have all been under 2.5, including the last 2 being scoreless draws. Definitely worth a sprinkle, and that big of a plus sign. You should probably always take that if you have a little extra lying around. Salernitana doesn't have a big scoring threat either. Under 2.5 goals is definitely worth a play. Their expected goals is about 1.07 and 1.3 goals for actual, and they allow 1 per with an expected goals allowed of 1.37. They don't have offense. They can play defense and get by, even though they are a middle team in Serie A. But under 2.5, minus 115 is a great price for 2 teams and a league that plays very slow. The last pick number 3, Empoli plays Juventus at home for Empoli. We're going to take Empoli double chance plus 120 on DraftKings. Juve sits at second in Serie A and plays a bottom half Empoli team that has played well at home in their last 3. They have won 2 in a row at home before a loss to Inter 3-0. Juve battered Empoli this season in a 4-0 win and have not played well versus Juve historically. Based on expected goals, Empoli is playing better than Juve. Juve's last 3 away expected goals, 1.51 with only 1 goal for per, and their expected goals allowed 1.38 with 0.67 goals being allowed in these games. Empoli is averaging more on offense, 1.52 expected goals with 1.6 goals for in those games. Their expected goals is low, 1.15 expected goals allowed, that is, with 1.6 being goals being allowed in those games. I expect it to possibly be a draw or a surprise win for Empoli, which is why I think double chance is definitely worth it and don't want to lose out on a winner when you cap it this way. Juve have only won 1 out of their last 6 away games, which is exactly what we need to keep happening, make it 1 out of 7. So we're going to take an Empoli side that is playing well at home in the last 3 and against a team that isn't playing well in their road games. So those are the 4 plays, 3 full 1-unit plays, depending on what your unit is, and then a quarter unit play. So 25% of that. Thank you all for listening. And as always, see you next time.